either a pediatrician or a photojournalist.
Be a SWAT officer.
A filmmaker.
Probably a lawyer or a pastry chef.
/filmmaker/writer/
Becoming an
10
architect
years
and a
from
music
now, I
writer.
see myself being 26.
Being an electrician.
My dream job is to be a lawyer. I just don't know what type of lawyer I want to be.
Making mad money. Marvel, Paul,
an artist,
a filmmaker,
going to
top
On
college,
vacation
great
and gotta
guy,
reflect
become
on
a
that.
cop.
I really
Get a job and
Sometimes it pays the bills or the car note, anything. Just for you to eat, that probably pays it. Feel me? This world is surrounded by money. Without money, you can't breathe. You can't eat, you can't do nothing. You can't drink nothing or nothing. You feel what I'm saying? So, to me, that's a job. If you can't have no other job or you can't find no other job.
It would give them pride, pride of knowing that they did an honest day's work for an honest day's pay.
Like, I was able to pay for my brother, his chemotherapy and stuff. I was able to pay for that. I was able to get an apartment for my mom.
The decisions that they're making now are really life-changing decisions.
You already know what will be happening out in these streets in New Haven, people getting shot and stuff. I'm tired of seeing people dying.
This is a cause,
Right.
but they don't necessarily see this as a cause.
This generation has a bad name. They have this name for violence.
They think we stupid, we can't do nothing. All we want to do is just like party and stuff, have a good time, let everything pass. We really ain't capable of nothing.
How are we even given a chance to prove ourselves and like prove that we can be responsible and that we are trying to make something of ourselves?
I think all the negativity that happens on the news, in the paper in regard to our young people gives young people a bad name.
They portray you as like animals and out of control, don't want to do nothing, always getting in trouble.
We have a reputation of being ruthless, we don't care about our education, we just stay in the streets.
Because, sometimes our dropout rate is higher, or you hear about the relatively small number of kids who cause problems, and that's what makes the newspaper.
Our generation, we have a lot of bad kids, so they don't really want the kids working with people because they're just so bad and they can't be depended upon.
some employers don't want to hire people who live in the ghetto because they think that's going to be bringing trouble.
If you live in the ghetto and, the workplace where you go to has heard a lot about that area, they're probably going to think, oh, this kid's probably going to bring something to my job.
Where you live sometimes determines the stereotype of how you act.
If you live in Newhallville, automatically they take Newhall off because everybody call it the Ville. So it's the Ville. They figure if you live in the Ville, you're gonna end up repping it. You just a gang member. That's all they think about.
Places such as Westville, you're more of a calm type youth. But if you come from inner city New Haven, you're wild and crazy. I'm not saying that, but it's what they think.
Enough job opportunities. I don't think there's ever enough job opportunities.
Do you have a job?
Nah,
Have you tried looking for one?
couple places. Everywhere.
There are tons of jobs out there for youth, but it's up to the youth to stop being lazy, and it's up to the youth to go out and get the jobs. A job isn't going to be handed to you. You got to go search for it. You got to find it. And if you really want a job and you really want to do it, trust me, you can find a job.
I think I've probably given out maybe 100 applications out of a school of 1,300 kids. You explain that to me.
You know, it's tough. I think when I was 15, 16, 17, I wasn't really thinking about any of this stuff. And I didn't really think about my future. I didn't think about what my job was going to be. I was concerned with a lot of other things. And I think what we're trying to do is to help young people look a little bit more closely at those kinds of things, excuse me, that are really going to affect their future.
Well, I think that one of the things that in the city of New Haven, what we're seeing is the lack of jobs and the lack of opportunities for youth.
Mostly all the jobs that you got downtown, you gotta be 18 or older. T-Mobile, 18. Foot Locker, 18. Expressions, 18. All those jobs you gotta be 18. Not everybody's 18. There's kids 14, 15, 16. They all trying to get jobs too.
Some people work at like Stop and Shop and places in the mall, places outside New Haven, basically.
Hamden Plaza, Milford Mall, all over.
The mall? You just like an hour and a half ride. First you gotta take the bus downtown. Then from downtown you gotta wait for another bus. Get on that bus, take 45-minute ride all the way to the mall. And then when you get to the mall, either you're gonna be late for work or you gotta be there real early before it's time for you to go in. Then when you done, you gotta take the bus all the way back, another 45-minute ride back downtown, then try to catch another bus to go home.
Well, let me rephrase that. I think there are opportunities out there. They just aren't necessarily getting to the youth that most need them. And in this case, I'm talking about the inner city youth. I'm talking about the boys and girls you see hanging out with nothing to do.
That's the reason why some of them do get in trouble, because they rather give the job to an older person than a younger person. Or being frank, they'd rather give a young white teenager a job than a black brother or sister that's the same age a job.
I would think that most youth don't have jobs. And this is an honest answer because they really don't want jobs.
We have a projected budget, and basically our budget is based on dollars raised. The amount of money we raise is the amount of students, equates to the amount of students that we can actually hire.
Youth try to get jobs and they can't really get jobs. After 4 or 5 times, a youth might give up because he's still young. He's not trying to really go that hard for a job when he can hustle drugs and make fast money and make more than sometimes teachers making a week.
When I was 14, I tried to look for a job. I went to Stop and Shop. I went to Shaw's. I went to Burger King. I went to all these different places. They was like, you gotta be a certain age. And they just told me no, so there was no other place I could go to.
If you know what's good and what's out there on the streets, what's available to you, you're gonna take them chances if you have to.
I think selling drugs is just an escape. It's just a way out. And it's making us lazy, it's making us stupid, and it's just a waste.
The number of young people with talent and skills and interests and willingness to learn and willingness to participate and to contribute on a job is really significant. And I think that's the biggest untold story.
When I started, like I said, I was about 8. I was bringing it to school. Even some of the teachers was buying it.
They go to the streets, and probably an older dude probably tell them like, yo, you want to sell some drugs for me? You make a little money, you know what I mean? And then that's how it starts like that.
I told somebody in my situation, and they was like, they got a solution for it. So I asked them, and they told me. At first I was like, nah, I don't think I can do that. But then I started to think that, yeah, I need the money. I gotta get it quick. I can't just wait. I'm only 8. come on now, I gotta get it quick. So they told me what to do. They gave it to me. And as I was selling it, I had to give them money back, but then I still kept money while I was selling it.
I consider it as a job because a lot of youth have no choice but to sell drugs because they don't have no jobs or they can't get no jobs, and that what mainly pays the bills.
I just didn't want that to be a part of me. But the whole reason why I did is because I needed to help my mother out. She really needed help because my father wasn't there. My mother had 6 kids. So it was all of us in one house. And at times we ain't had no place to live. We had to live on the train station floor. So that's the whole reason why I started. And then my little brother was dying of cancer. So they wasn't gonna let him in the hospital because there wasn't no way for us to pay for his medicine.
We're kind of caught in this negative continuum where the young people your age are raised by people who also didn't have opportunities. So, and that's what I was getting at when I was talking a little bit earlier about showing them that they can succeed legitimately and that they can do things. We don't have enough icons. We don't have enough examples of that.
They, have nobody to look up to or have anybody that could be their role model or give them money or anything like that.
When I seen my little brother dying, that's when I noticed. Then I seen what my mom was going through. And she was like close to dying herself, so that's when that kind of like hit me.
We tried to, in that report, focus on some of the disturbing figures that we were seeing and trends in terms of young people dropping out of school. Higher dropout rates than really were acceptable. If your parents consent, you can drop out at 16. And there's no place in this economy, there's no place in the world of work for somebody who's a dropout, somebody who doesn't have at least a high school education.
Most of them don't care no more because, either they've been kicked out of all the New Haven public schools, so they might have to go to homebound, and then after they go to homebound for a couple of days, they probably just stop going and just like, forget it, man, I'd rather make this money, man.
A lot of people I know who do sell drugs is because they were brought up around it, and that's all they ever know. So now they're dropping out of school and selling drugs, thinking that that's their life, and it's going to end up killing them.
You either get killed, go to jail, or you'll get robbed. There's a bunch of things that happen to you. Feel what I'm saying?
For those people who drop out or those people who take those jobs, they face more unemployment than most of us. They'll probably never own a home. The chances of them getting involved in something illegal and getting involved in the criminal justice system increase significantly.
Now that you got a felony or any type of charge against you, it's going to make it even harder for you to get a job.
We don't have a lot of kids actually that are placed in the program that have reported to have been arrested.
Generally, we look for people with clean records because we want them to be representative of the company that they're working for.
It's also about what are you exposing everybody else in the building to? You know, has the person really learned from what happened? You know, have they gotten over it, or is it going to happen again?
A person that owns something, they'll take more chances with people that don't have records because they don't want their business to go down the drain.
So would you say it makes a big difference whether or not a youth has been arrested or not arrested?
Yes, it would make a big difference, yeah.
You know, one of our programs for Easter Seals Goodwill is for people in the reentry, community reentry program, which are people who have been incarcerated. So we see a lot of young people come into our programs who, if maybe they were at work at the time, they may have not gotten in trouble.
You know, I've heard statistics that like at the Connecticut Juvenile Training Center, It costs as close to $250,000 just for one young person to be detained for a full year. And that, to me, that's absurd when we should be, for a program like this, it's probably about $1,500 per youth. For that amount of money for one young person to be detained, we could be hiring a couple hundred young people, and that's going to make a huge difference in their life.
All right, I got the idea of washing cars and stuff like that from my father, because like back in the day, before he had got locked up or whatever, I mean, he used to wash cars for my cousins and them, and it brought him bigger business. Like people at Welly Pizza that own Welly Pizza, he used to wash their cars. Now I wash their cars, I mean, so it's like, it just brought it down to me, like, I mean.
The Kaufman Group did a study in I believe it was 2000, that said African American males between the ages of 18 and 34 are the most entrepreneurial minded people in the world. And the reason is because we all had to have a hustle.
I got all type of hustles, you feel what I'm saying? I just don't, I don't sell drugs and nothing like that. Just because you say you a hustler, that don't mean you talking about drugs, you feel me? You could be a hustler having a job, raking yard, that's a hustle. Anything is a form of hustle.
We need to take that hustle mentality and let them hustle into something legitimate, something that's going to give them an adequate living. Youth can do anything they want to do, anything that they have the capacity to do. And if it's something that they don't have the capacity for, then it is up to us to give them that capacity.